Hey everyone, today's topic is listening. You would think that listening would just be a natural thing for all of us, but it's not. And I'll get more to that in just a second. My name is Lynn Schrader, and I empower men and women to step outside of their comfort zone and begin living a life that they could have never imagined. So, did you know that we have, on the average, an 8-second attention span? That's crazy. 8 seconds, that's it. But it's true. And it doesn't take that much to really absorb that and say, yeah, it is true, because we are a society now more than ever that we just sort of be chasing our tail and on that hamster wheel, and we're always that B word, busy. So 8 seconds attention span is not out of the ordinary. And when it comes to listening, that's when we really need to do our best to be an active listener. Now, this video is for those business leaders out there and just people that are in a relationship. Myself, I am a business leader, have a large team, and it's super important that I become and I am a good listener. And not only that, is I am also a business and life coach, and that more than anything makes me really know that it's necessary to be a good listener. Why? Because as a coach or as a friend, I want people to know, as a leader, that I am in their corner, that I am going to be encouraging them, that I'm going to be holding them accountable, that I am going to be holding their feet to the fire and telling them the truth. But what they say and and I am safe for them. So this idea of being a good listener, it's so important, and it's important that we teach our children to be that way as well. So I've come up with just 8 listening tips. Now, some of them are no-brainers, but again, we live in a world where we are busy and we forget some of the basic things. So number one, and by the way, these are not in a particular order, but I do believe that number one should be number one, and that is to make eye contact. When you're talking with someone face to face, it is so annoying, I'll just say it right there, and it's so disconcerting when we are talking to someone that isn't looking at us. They're not giving us their full face. They're looking past our shoulder, they're looking to the right or to the left, they're looking down, they're looking any place but at us. And that is so important that we stop doing that we give someone their rightful attention that they deserve. They get the floor. When I taught school, that's something that I would tell my students a lot. I'd say, don't interrupt. Tom or Mary or whoever has the floor. That means they get the attention. They're on the stage. So number one is to make eye contact. Make that person know that what they're saying is important to you in this moment. Number two is take your hands off of the phone. No scrolling. Take your hand off of the mouse. No scrolling on the internet if you're on the phone. It is very apparent when people are doing something else when you're on the phone with them and they're not listening to you. Now, I can raise my hand and come clean and say, if I'm not careful, I'm that person. I got a call from one of my sons yesterday, and then my husband, actually I think it happened several times yesterday, but I was on the phone and multitasking. No, give that person your undivided attention and let them know again that they've got the floor. They are the center of attention. People can tell. And here's the other thing. You and I miss key points to what that person is saying. When we're not listening with our full face, when we're scrolling, we're not hearing their whole story. Number three is to, when they're finished, be ready to summarize what they said or parrot back to them what they said. Now, why? And again, I'm going to tell you, it's not during, it's after it's all done. But why is that important? A couple of things can happen. Number one is as you spit it back, as you parrot it back to them, they are going to either edit what you say, what you just said, or correct what you just said. No, I really meant this. Or they're going to see what they said from a different perspective. There's something about hearing somebody else say it that lets us gain perspective. So get ready to parrot back what you just heard. Number four. Now this is super important. If I had to move this up on the count, the 8 tips, I'd probably move it to number 2, and it is don't interrupt. Do not interrupt. Bite your tongue. Quiet your agenda. We all have an agenda. Remember, we're the most important person in our life. Unfortunately, we are, but we have an agenda. And if we are always ready to interrupt, solve a problem, whatever, that's telling that person that what you have to say is more important than what they have to say. Be present. When I'm coaching people, I will say this a lot, especially if I'm on the phone. They don't hear from me because I'm really taking notes or I'm just absorbing it. And I will say to them, now listen, if you don't hear me respond, or if you don't hear me, I'm listening. I just don't want to interrupt you. Do the same thing. It tells that person that you care about them. Number five is at the end, don't interrupt, but you will be able to either share a been there, done that story or validate them in some way. You can tell them that what's happened to you, what has worked in that situation, what didn't work in that situation. Now, here's something important. Don't patronize them. Don't patronize them by saying, it'll be okay, no worries. That's patronizing. But you can share a been there, done that, because you know what happens? Makes the other person feel that they're normal and that life will go on. Number six is listen to learn. Listen to learn, not just listen to be kind and generous and a friend, but listen to learn something. If you leave a conversation, and I'm not just talking about a conversation that's like, hey, how are you today? Good, great, have a good day. I'm talking about a deep conversation or a conversation that's deeper than an inch. It's a conversation that has meat to it. If you leave that conversation not learning something, then you probably weren't listening. You've got to ask questions and be curious. Again, ask questions after, but listen out of curiosity. Dig and show that person, I really care about what you're saying. Tell me more. Number seven is turn off your inner voice. We all have it. We have an inner voice that tells us we can't do something, makes us afraid, tells us that we're a loser. But we also have an inner voice that wants to give our side of the story or be judgmental or something like that, or solve a problem. Turn off your inner voice. Have you ever been in a conversation when you're talking to someone and you already know what you want to say? You want to say, hey, that's happened to me, blah, 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 blah. Or you want to say, no, I didn't, whatever. Turn off that inner voice. They've got the floor. You will have a chance to talk after. Don't try to one-up them. Don't try to solve anything. Turn off, click your inner voice. And number eight, emotion labeling. Emotion labeling. Now, this was new to me until I did some research as a coach, but emotion labeling is helping that other person tie some of the things that are going on in that situation to an emotion. Many of us are brought up to not acknowledge an emotion, maybe to give an emotion no acknowledgement or to not call it out. Some people just don't know how to even talk about emotions, or they might not think it's permissible. If I complain or if I talk about an emotion, it's going to feel like I'm complaining. So as a listener, it's more than okay after the conversation to say something like, am I hearing you right? Or am I hearing you right to say that you're just pissed? You are pissed, or you're frustrated, or you're just really sad, or anxious, or vulnerable, or exposed, or you feel betrayed. Helping them label the emotion gives them permission to feel it. I got to do that yesterday. I got a call. Somebody was so frustrated about what had happened, and I was able to say, gosh, it sounds like you're very frustrated. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. And then we went on, but label emotions, help them. It helps you figure them out as well. Now, there are some things, some roadblocks that we really have to watch out for, and they're really simple. Number one is beware of why questions. Those questions that put people on the defensive. Well, why'd you do that? How could you do that? Why questions. Number two, beware of the quick reassurances. It'll be okay. The patronizing one. Don't sweat it. Who wants to hear that? I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear that when I'm sharing my heart with somebody. Number three, advising. You know what I'd do if I was in your situation? I don't want to hear that either. I want to hear a gentle, you know what, let's talk about what happened and what are some things that you think you could do, and I'll throw in a few that I think you could do. I don't want somebody advising me or pointing their finger. Preaching, well, in a couple of years, when you're a little bit older, you will really understand this, or when you're my age, you're going to understand. I don't want preaching. And the last one is interrupting. Those are the 5 things to watch out for. Why questions? Quick reassurances. Those are the patronizing ones. Advising, preaching, and interrupting. That's it. Now listen, I love this saying, and we were given 1 tongue and 2 ears, so we could hear twice as much as we speak. You and I could take a great lesson from that. Listen, if you got some value out of this video, do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the share button, or share it with somebody by tagging them in the comment section. I'm going to go ahead and drop something that I'm giving out for free, and it's some affirmations that come to your email every morning to affirm you, to make sure that you know that you are on the right track. I'd love to give those to you, so I'm going to drop that link in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I'd love to hear from you too, so drop a comment on what you think in the comments below as well. Thank you so much.